And joining me right now here on the Mark Moses Show, this guy does a great job with the Augusta Free Press up there in Virginia. He's my great friend, Chris Graham. I know he was in Omaha the last couple of days covering the College World Series. We'll start there. Chris, how you doing today?
Great, Mark. Thanks for having me, man.
All right. I used to live in Omaha. I used to cover the College World Series. I love college baseball. What was your experience like? I know you've gone a couple times. What was it like over the last couple of days?
It was great. The team I'm covering, Virginia, lost its first two games, so they're out. But that said, there's 8 great teams there. There's 8 great fan bases, but there's actually lots of fan bases there, whether their teams are there or not. When you walk around the concourse, you see people wearing baseball jerseys and shirts from all, so many schools. LSU, if you'd think LSU was in this thing. There are so many LSU fans there. So it's a supportive environment, very collegial, to use the term. Everybody seems to be rooting for everybody else. A lot of high-knowledge baseball fans there, and it's so different than watching any other sporting event, really. I get turned off a lot, especially with college football. It seems like everybody just goes there to get drunk and get into a fight. This World Series thing is so much fun because everybody's on the same team. Even though we're all wearing different colors, it's really cool in that respect.
All right, whoa! What college football games are you covering where people are just beating each other up? What's going on? Tell me.
What college football games have you not been to? Or have you been to? That's not going on. There's a tailgating culture with baseball, but again, it seems different. The baseball, especially, and I love that stadium. It's awesome. It's the newer stadium. It's right there in the middle of things. In Omaha, whereas the Rosenblatt, the historic stadium, was off to the side there and kind of on its own. But there's so much around the park. Everything about it. I'm going again, no matter what, in the future.
All right. How did you fly there? How?
Let's see how. Charlottesville to Chicago and then to Omaha. So, and then same route back.
One time when I lived in Omaha, I did the flight to Dallas, Texas, then to West Palm Beach. I think it's not easy to get there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's not easy to get there. The airport is not that big, surprisingly, for a city that's pretty good sized. But it's clean, very efficient. It's a good airport, but yeah, it's not
easy.
Big size airport. Yeah,
it's not. Easy to get there. All right. What team had the best tailgate?
Oh, LSU. They're not even in the tournament. They had the best tailgate.
Wait a minute, what? So their fans LSU showed up.
Oh my God, there's so many there's probably as many LSU fans there as there are anybody else this year. And they're not even in the tournament.
That's wild.
Those folks know how to party. I think what it's got to be is that they expect to be there every year, so they rent their hotel rooms a year because you have to rent. Now, see, when you live there, you have the advantage in that you live there, but you've got to prepare like a year in advance. And so, poor, struggling sports writers like me who find out like on Saturday before the Friday start of the tournament that your team's going, and you've got to, arrange for flights and arrange for hotels. Man, they charge through the nose for those hotel rooms.
Oh, yeah.
So I can guess that, those fans of those fan bases who go every year, they're like, hey, if the worst thing happens, I'll just go watch some other teams play baseball.
All right, let's clarify this. I've been saying this for years, and everyone rolls their eyes when I say this. Omaha has an actual downtown with high buildings, right? And I try to tell people, I'm like, it kind of looks like downtown Orlando, except what's great about Orlando is there's not horrible snow all the time. Is that kind of a good way of looking at it?
Yeah, it is. Your people would be surprised. Because of my hotel situation, I ended up staying in Council Bluffs, which is just across the river. And where I stayed was still 5 minutes from the ballpark. So just you hop on the interstate, you're right there. But from my hotel room in Council Bluffs, I could see the big buildings. Yeah, I mean, the tall skyscrapers and such. And there's several distinct districts around the ballpark. There's the ballpark area itself. There's, and I don't know all the names of them, you would, but there's a different downtown area. Some really neat little niche areas there. I got to explore a little bit more this year than I did last year. There's a bar called Barry O's that is about a mile from the ballpark, but it's where Brian O'Connor, UVA's coach, used to bartend when he was a pitcher and then assistant coach at Creighton. He had to make extra money, and so he was a bartender there for, I think, 3 or 4 years. So that's become the UVA bar now because of Brian O'Connor's ties there. So there's all kinds of stories like that there that are really neat.
I used to broadcast at DJ's Dugout downtown by the basketball arena. I don't know if it's still there. And then my mom always liked the Mattress Factory. Well, I know. And then it's like, is it the Old Market? Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Old Market. And then that was a really neat area. I went there one evening for adult beverages and such. And then Rocco is right across the street from the ballpark with its Jello shot challenge. You got to do that if you go. They $5 Jello shots, and they're color coded based on the school, and then they do a nightly scoreboard update to see which fan base consumed the most Jello shots. Last year, LSU set the record that will never be broken. It was something like 68,000 of them.
Man,
they wanted the LSU fans petitioned to be in the Jello Shot Challenge, even though they're not in the tournament this year. That's how many LSU fans are there. Also, how much fun they bring to Omaha.
You know what's funny? So when I lived there, we were with Chris Graham, by the way. They would call Council Bluffs Council Tucky.
I heard that one of my Uber drivers brought that term up. Yeah.
Council Tucky. Also, I always think about this. Bar Rescue. Have you ever seen this show before?
I've seen the show, yeah.
Okay, so there are 2 famous episodes. There is one in Omaha where the guy shows up where some local guy, he wants to build a hookah bar in downtown Omaha. I got to show it to you on YouTube. So Bar Rescue shows up and goes, that's a terrible idea. No one's doing hookah in Omaha. They want to drink beer, eat steaks. No. And he's like, I'm going to do it anyway. So they literally build it, and then the minute, so they turn into a real bar outside of hookah. They turn to a real bar. It's super nice. Okay? The minute Bar Rescue leaves, he turns it back into a hookah bar. He does that. Okay. What's funny, what scared the hell out of me, I saw the episode, and then I saw the location. I was like, I used to park right in front of that place. I had no idea it was a bar. That's how terrible it was.
Yeah. Sometimes these people who are experts know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah. So then the other one is, the most famous Bar Rescue is where you stayed in Council Bluffs, where it was such a, how do I say this without getting in trouble? Such a low-life redneck type bar. And it was so awful that the guy on Bar Rescue, he gave up halfway through the episode, and they didn't even fix the bar. And it didn't even finish the episode. Think about that.
Yeah. My experience in Council Bluffs was, I'll keep the Council Bluffs Chamber of Commerce from writing us angry letters, but it was not pleasant.
It's nice.
Say that much.
Here's what I will say: you got all the casinos right there, which are nice. So we would go see concerts there because it'd be, they get them all the casinos. So I saw 311, and they're from Omaha. That was awesome, dude. It was. But I won't put you on the Visitors Bureau for Council Bluffs, Iowa. Okay, don't worry.
No, I will not. I'll be writing a glowing recommendation now.
I will say this. This is the nerdiest thing I'm going to tell you. So when Bob Seger's song Turn the Page, just think about this. There is a lyric where he says he's driving east of Omaha at the beginning. So I feel like he's on I-80 heading east through Iowa. So that's where you were, my friend. Yeah, that's right. I like it. A little Bob Seger trivia here on the Mark Moses Show. I like it. I also, the year I left Charlottesville and the first fall I was in Omaha, I went into a shopping mall, into a sports store, and I bought a Virginia baseball jersey that has the College World Series patch on it because that's my favorite Virginia team of all time. The Is it 10 or 11 the first time they ever made the College World Series?
They made it in '09 was the first year.
That's what it was. So I have that jersey. It was on clearance. I'll have to send you a photo of this. That's right.
Yes, you will.
Yeah. Okay. The more serious question is, you've been there a couple times. What does it take to win the College World Series when you watch these teams play?
Gosh, you got to win the first game. And, the format is so hard because it's two different rounds in this college. The Final Four in basketball, you just got to win 2 basketball games. That's it. You just got to go up there and win 2 games. In the College World Series, in the first round, it's double elimination, a 4-team double elimination tournament. You've either got to win 3 games if you win straight through, or 4 games if you lose either of your first 2, because of the having to lose twice rule. So you've got to win your first 2 games. That's the hard, because if you lose either of those first 2 games, you've got to then win a total of 4 to get to the next round, and it's going to kill your pitching because there's a couple of days off, or a day or 2, depending on how far you play between the one bracket and then the best of 3 championship final. But if you have to play 5 games with your pitching staff in college, the college season, you play 1 game during the week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, and then you play 3 games on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, you pitch 36 innings a week. If you have to pitch 45 innings, take a day off, and then pitch another 27 innings, it's tough. So it's tough either way. Even if you have to play the 3 games and then another 3, it's still tough. But so you got to win. You got to win your first 2 games, and boy, you got to have lots of arms and lots of quality arms. Everybody out there, it seems like. I cover college baseball during the season from February to May. You'll see numbers up on the scoreboard occasionally in the 90s from pitchers. Everybody out there is throwing not just low 90s, they're throwing mid 90s, upper 90s. Everybody's got all these, the teams who make it this far have all these guys that just throw gas. So you got to have that. You've got to have a deep lineup, guys 1 to 9 who can, put pressure on pitchers, and a little luck. I mean, honestly, just a little bit of luck. Florida State got to their bracket final, but they lost to Tennessee, who was now in the championship series. Had 11-7 lead in the 8th inning, 11-8 lead going in the 9th inning, and lost on a walk-off in the 9th inning. They were that close to beating Tennessee in the first game. They win that game, they might be in the final now. So, a little bit of luck, a lot of pitching, and gas coming out of the bullpen.
Who is your pick to win it then?
Between the 2 left, Tennessee's lineup is just so deep. They hit the ball like crazy. They've got, it feels like 1 through 9. Everybody there can hit the ball 500 feet. And they've got enough pitching. I keep hearing about how great their pitching is, but they've given up some runs in this postseason. They lost a game to Evansville in the Super Regionals, gave up double digits in that game. Gave up double digits to Florida State in the first game of the College World Series. So, but I love their lineup. A&M is a very good balanced team. But Tennessee. So I'll go with Tennessee. I think they'll win in 2.
I'm taking Tennessee as well. Have you seen this pitcher with the handlebar mustache? Have you seen?
I have. He looks like something out of a 1920s silent movie.
Yeah,
the kind of villain who would tie a damsel in distress to the railroad tracks. I mean, he's got a look, man. I tell you, I love it. He looks the part.
He's only probably 20 years old, but he looks like you're saying, he might be 45. It's such a great look. I love it.
He looks like Sparky Lyle from the 70s. Boy, I'm really dating myself when I say that. But that handlebar mustache, he looks like a guy coming out of the bullpen in the 1970s. Like, somebody you'd see on the ABC Monday Night Baseball Game of the Week.
That's awesome.
And I can't believe he looks like he's like you said, he's like mid-40s because he's kind of fluffy. I mean, he's a little bigger fella. Doesn't look like he's a guy who, hits the weight room too much. But he can throw it. So, and he especially does. He curls it up just for the baseball game so he can look really good out there.
Can you grow that type of mustache?
I can, but I'm not allowed to. I wouldn't be able to live in the home if I did, but I've threatened to do so a couple of times.
Oh, you threatened it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
These are my demands. I will shave this mustache if you're so funny. Oh, man. By the way, did you see that report where college basketball might actually expand the March Madness tournament? Have you seen this?
I've seen it. Yeah. It's more games and more money, so I can see why they would do that.
So what does it take to win the title? Do you have to win 10 games in a row? Like, where are we going with this?
If we add another round, say we go from 68 to like 96, that would be another game, right? So, they might, I would assume that they would do something where they would, some top seeds, whatever number they would cut it off at, would get a bye. So the Blue Bloods wouldn't have to play 7 games, but I don't know if I see it happening. The current TV contract, I think, goes through 2029 or 2030, and I might be even short on that. But, unless they were to renegotiate that contract, there'd be no benefit. There'd be no incentive for the NCAA to do that. But, man, I can see it happening once that contract's up because, the only way to get more money is to have more inventory, and that's more games.
I've been trying to warn people on the air for the last month, but no one's taking me seriously. The football playoff is all December and then into midway into January. Do you understand this is going to happen?
Oh, yeah. It's, the first year it'll be great. I mean, I think it'll be great in general. But part of this will be a feeling out process because what interest do we have? We can speculate about this until it happens, but what interest do we have in other bowl games around those 11 playoff games? The bowl games are ESPN's creation. I mean, I think ESPN owns, if not all of them, all but like 2 or 3 of those bowl games that are played. And so, in addition to 11 playoff games playing forever and ever, we have all those meaningless bowl games. So. They've been meaningless for years, except for the 2 playoff games or 3 playoff games we'd have. So no, that's going to be an interesting social experiment there to see how much attention span we have for that long of a playoff.
I like it. Social experiment. It's a good way of looking at it. You're absolutely right. There's going to be a weekend in January where you're going to have Thursday and Friday. There's going to be playoff games for college football. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday is NFL playoff weekend. So 5 days in a row. Are you ready for that? Oh.
Are we ready for that? I mean, or how many times can we, break out a cheese tray and have friends over to drink without all of us, just basically putting ourselves in the hospital that weekend? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting weekend, no doubt.
You're absolutely right. Let's end with this with Chris Graham. Okay. So I saw this on Facebook, and then I looked it up on YouTube. I did my own research, like I'm Aaron Rodgers. I couldn't help myself. I was like, stop everything I'm doing. I need to look at this. And I sent it to you, and I was like, have you ever seen this before? And you're like, no. And that really scared me because you're the biggest wrestling guy I know. Were you even subscribed to New Japan Wrestling? You know everything. It is from 2001, XWF. And it had Jimmy Hart, Rowdy Piper, Hulk Hogan, Buff Bagwell, Sable. I can just keep going. What's it called? Jerry the King Lawler. What is this? How have I never heard of this before? What is this exactly?
I got to admit to you, Mark, when you sent me that YouTube link and I started watching it, my first thought was, this has to be a parody. This did not happen. Somebody is spoofing all of us. So I'm watching it, and the intro to the video was Jimmy Hart and Brian Knopf from the Nasty Boys.
Yeah,
and I'm still thinking, man, there's no way this was real. So I started doing some research on the internet. That's how I knew nothing about this. And this company in 2001, right after WWE, or at the time WWF bought, Vince McMahon bought WCW, ended WCW, ECW went into bankruptcy, so there's no number 2 company or number 3 company. It's just WWF before TNA Impact started. So obviously a long time before AEW started, and so Jimmy Hart. Manager of Hulk Hogan and, back in the day in WWE, all the way back to Memphis Wrestling, decided to try to start this company. And they filmed some matches at the old sound studio at Universal down there in Florida that WCW had used for years. They had lots of big name wrestlers signed on. They tried to use the what they shot to get a TV show. Part of the issue was that they only signed the wrestlers for the tapings. As soon as Vince McMahon caught wind of this going on, he poached several of the guys who were working for the company. That's what Vince McMahon does, and they never got on TV. But they had Hulk Hogan versus Curt Hennig in a match. They had some. They put some stuff on. It looks like
it's bizarre. It reminds me of Brian Pillman, where everyone's like, oh, yeah, I remember Brian Pillman. He was there during the Attitude Era of the 90s. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't. For some reason, it's like Will Smith showed up with the neutralizer from Men in Black, and I don't remember any of this. And I grew up watching wrestling, and I feel like I know stuff. No idea what you're talking about. So thank you for doing research on this, because this was shocking to me.
I'm going to have to write about this because, as you I mean, you didn't overstate. I thought I knew everything about wrestling, certainly from the last 50 years of it, and this completely caught me off guard. I knew nothing about it, and it happened 20-some years ago with huge name guys, and it never saw the light of day. So now I've got to do some more research and find out some more about this company.
I like Tony Schiavone. He comes on there, okay, and he's like, this is my favorite part. And I love all the YouTube comments say this as well. This is a place with no egos. And then they go straight to Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, yeah.
The biggest ego of them all. There's a good, what was it on Vice TV, like Beyond the Mat, where it's like, what killed WCW? Have you seen this yet?
I've started watching it. I've only watched the first episode, but I've read books about this topic. I'm curious to see how they'll, what they'll blame the death on, because there's lots and lots of theories out there.
There are so many documentaries on the WCW and when Hogan turns heel. It's amazing to me. There's so many YouTube videos and then actual, just so many. I'm amazed by this. So you know what that means?
Yes.
You and me have to make one. We have to do it.
Oh dear, yeah. I've written a book about wrestling that, about my couple years in it with that company, Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. We try to do the same thing that XWF tried to do about 10 years later. We actually did get on TV one time, so we beat XWF 1-0 in that respect. So.
That's awesome. That is badass.
But no, I'd love, I mean, at some point,
right.
We both have all these reams of useless wrestling knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
We have to use it for some good.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, and I'll let you go, we're here with Chris Graham. One of the most badass moments of my life is I'm in Charlottesville at the UVA bookstore. So I'm with a bunch of friends, and we're all looking at different books. And I go, yeah, you want to see something cool? And I went in the sports section, and I took out your book and turned to the page with my name in it, talking about me. Blew everyone's mind. That's the best. Great.
That's the ultimate trump card right there, yeah.
Damn right. His name is Chris Graham of the US Free Press. My man, thanks for your help and have a great day.
Thanks, Mark.